you can count on us. This is 7 News Good Morning Fort Sill.
Good morning and welcome to this Thursday edition of Good Morning Fort Sill.
So I think we got a pretty good show today, but first let's go ahead and take a look at the weather with Michael Amankwa. Michael, how's it looking out there?
Well, it's looking pretty clear out there. We're not seeing too much activity out there, with the exception of if you go all the way to our far eastern counties, just outside our viewing area near the I-35 corridor. There's just a few showers out there, but nothing really going on. In fact, if we zoom out just a little bit across the region, we're not seeing too much going on right now. There is a little bit of upper level clouds coming from the south, just to the west of us, and some of that has to do with Hurricane Loretta, but other than that, we're not seeing too much out there. And right now, we're looking at the Jackson County Memorial Hospital's Howcam, which is currently not working right now, but as we look at our almanac from yesterday, we've had a high of 94, which is around normal for this time of year, but our lows were about 10 degrees below average, as the air is very dry out there. So that's why we're seeing a discrepancy between the actual lows and our high temperatures. And elsewhere, we had a high of 91 in Wichita Falls, 90 in Chickasha, 91 in Duncan, 92 down in Graham, 97 in Vernon, 96 in Frederick, where it was a little bit warmer, especially across our western counties.
We're starting with our top military headlines. The Trump administration has proposed a new rule that would bar the Department of Veteran Affairs from providing abortions and related counseling.
But as our Washington correspondent Emma Woolhurst reports, more than 200 lawmakers are now speaking out and asking them to rescind it.
These lawmakers say this proposed change is not about safety, but about control.
Veterans fought for our rights. Now it is our responsibility to fight for theirs.
Wednesday, ranking members of the Senate and House Veterans Affairs Committees led a group of lawmakers and advocates to demand the VA rescind their new proposed rule. This change would reinstate what the Veterans Administration calls a full exclusion on abortions and abortion counseling from the VA's medical benefits package. The current provision, put in place in 2022, offers abortion counseling to all pregnant veterans and abortion in cases of rape, incest, or if the life or health of the pregnant person is at risk.
It literally endangers and risks life for hundreds of thousands of veterans.
According to the VA, women are the fastest growing group of the veteran population, with more than 2 million women veterans living in the U.S. today.
Their access to care should not shift with every administration.
The VA says it interpreted abortion care as a not needed medical service. But these lawmakers argue since the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, more than half of women veterans and beneficiaries of reproductive age live in states that have enacted abortion bans or restrictions.
Every single one of us who raised our hands to go downrange knew that we might die. We all took that risk. But you know what risk we didn't take? That we might die when having the audacity to want to have a family.
Senator Richard Blumenthal says if the rule change does go into effect, Senate Democrats will fight it on the floor with a Congressional Review Act. In the House, Representative Julia Brownlee introduced the Reproductive Freedom for Veterans Act, which would guarantee veterans and eligible dependents have the right to receive abortion care, medication, and counseling through the VA. In Washington, Emma Woolhurst.
Well, the U.S. military teamed up with their Colombian and Dominican Republic counterparts to intercept a vessel carrying nearly 450 kilos of cocaine in the Caribbean yesterday.
And 2 people were detained in that operation, which comes in the wake of another operation where U.S. military forces killed 11 people linked to the Tren de Aragua cartel. The U.S. has deployed warships to the region to target drug cartels, which has escalated tensions with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
The move has divided regional countries, with some supporting U.S. measures and others raising concerns.
Fort Sill has thousands of acres of training area that is also open at certain times for hunting to those that are eligible.
That's right, Kyle. We caught up with Fort Sill Department of Natural Resources Branch Chief Jeremiah Zarenda to talk about hunting on post.
For all sorts of different opportunity in the way of hunting, fishing, and just outdoor recreation. 93,000 total acres here on the installation, which offers all sorts, just tons and tons of land for folks to recreate. There's some real keynote things, definitely eligible individuals, and that can be found in our Fort Sill 200-1, which is the installation's version of the hunting and fishing regulations. There's also the Fort Sill 190-11, which talks directly towards weapons, how to maintain weapons, how to register weapons, where to go and how to do that. It's a pretty easy process. We use an online platform called iSportsman. You can find that at sill.isportsman.net, where all of our protocols, all of our regulations, our check-in, check-out, all of those procedures are found there.
So an abundance of great hunting area, but there are a few requirements as well. You can go online to sill.isportsman.net for all of the information. Well, Fort Sill's 3rd Battalion, 13th Field Artillery Regiment recently completed an Artillery Table 15 qualification.
Oh man, that's right, Kyle. So I love the sound of rockets going down range. So an Artillery Table 15 is a battery level training exercise that integrates fires into a tactical training scenario, and it's evaluated by leadership and master gunners to qualify that particular firing battery and ensure they can provide accurate and timely fires in support of any mission. The exercise is conducted over multiple days and involves all aspects of simulated combat.
Now, this could include simulated attacks by enemy forces and reacting to threats like unmanned aerial systems and chemical attacks.
They also practice how to resupply and run logistics in a contested environment. Since that is a huge piece of warfare, forces need food, fuel, maintenance, and other requirements to be able to fight and win. Great job, 313 FA there.
Well, USO Oklahoma offers numerous free programs for service members and their families. One of those is a weekly meal program every Wednesday called Fueling Our Forces.
So as part of that program, the USO partners with a local canine team called Paws with Love that brings service dogs in to spend some time with service members and their families. The program started back in 2022 here on Fort Sill and has grown since then.
When the canines or the dogs come in, it kind of raises the motivation, gets people excited. They definitely like to visit with them. I think it helps emotionally as well. I think it kind of lets you unplug for a couple minutes. Some folks that are stationed here may not have the opportunity to spend time with their animals or with their pets, and this gives them that opportunity.
Both participants and volunteers say that the program is a meaningful way to bring some joy, relaxation, and companionship to service members.
Sometimes someone may feel alone, and coming here during the workday and taking that time, and even if it's just 5 minutes, might help them out.
I feel really good about getting to visit the soldiers, and Molly loves it. Periodically, either she or I are sick, and she's upset that she doesn't get to go visit everybody.
The Canine team also does a program on the second Wednesday each month called Paws and Pages. That's where military families with children can come down to the USO during lunchtime and read books to the dogs. Well, Loadmasters with the 58th Airlift Squadron recently conducted static loading training with soldiers from the 31st ADA Brigade out of Fort Sill. Soldiers were given hands-on experience with loading and unloading their equipment onto a C-17 Globemaster.
Leaders with the unit say that the training is valuable because it allows junior soldiers to understand the expectations of Loadmasters and allows both branches of the military to interact with a different culture. The 3 Loadmasters also demonstrated different combinations of possible uploads for each vehicle, further preparing them for real-world scenarios and instilling with them the knowledge and confidence to execute their mission effectively. Well, one of the world's most famous comic strips got its start today when Good Morning Fort Sill returns. We'll take a look at the origins of Beetle Bailey.
Sunny or severe, we get it right, you get it first. First Alert 7 weather.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust, your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are. Here's your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Michael Amanqua.
And taking a look at our current temperatures across the area, we're sitting anywhere from the lower to mid 60s in some areas, and a few areas are seeing a few lower 70s. It's currently 64 in Lawton, 68 in Duncan. A little bit warm down here for you guys in Wichita Falls at 72 degrees, 72 as well in Vernon and in Monday, but 69 in Frederick and 66 in Elk City. Looking at our dew points there, a little bit lower today. This morning, they're they're pretty much in the lower to mid 50s, a few lower 60s, so the air is a lot drier, so it's more comfortable going outside, especially if you're starting out your day pretty early. And winds right now are kind of variable, but they're anywhere from around 0 to 10 miles per hour. A few areas getting up to 12 to 13 miles per hour. They'll start to switch over towards the south, mainly today, as you really start to warm up with this dry air in place. Dry air heats up faster, and then that will be before a cold front comes in tomorrow. So it will be a warm day across the area. This is how the upper levels are looking right now, with subtropical jet stream streaming across here, the polar jet stream way off to our north end. We will be anticipating our next cold front right now, currently stalled in northern parts of Oklahoma. It's pretty much the actual front is in Kansas, but it will make its way down here as we head into tomorrow. Looking at your PT forecast, currently 64 degrees at Fort Sill with clear skies. And for your PT forecast, temperatures will be generally in the lower to mid 60s across the area. And then as we get into around 9 a.m. temperatures, we get out to around 72 degrees.
Well, Shepherd Air Force Base is calling all kids and their families to join them for their annual Kid Run. The race gets underway at 7:30 tomorrow evening, and costumes are welcome.
Officials will be handing out T-shirts for the first 100 people, but sizes are limited. The event is free and open to everyone. For more information, you can contact the Magical Youth Center at the number on your screen. And Club Altus is inviting you and your family out to a trivia and pizza and pasta trivia night. That's tomorrow evening. There will be a buffet served from 5:30 until 7:30. The actual competition gets underway just after about 6:30. The event will cost $10 per adult, $8 for kids between the ages of 12 and 15. Kids, $6 for kids 5 to 11, and kiddos under the age of 5 are free. For more information, you can contact Club Altus.
And this weekend, the Altus Fitness Center is inviting people to get down and dirty at the annual Gladiator Mud Run. Organizers are asking runners to meet up at the fitness center at 8:30 Saturday morning to get a map and sign a medical waiver. Man, I don't know about that. And then the event is for people ages 14 and up. Minors must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. More information can be found on the Altus Force Support Squadron's Facebook page.
And Shepherd is also teaming up with the Military and Family Readiness Center for the 9/11 Never Forget Shepherd 5K. That event will be held next Saturday at 9 a.m. at the Fitness Center.
There will be plenty of activities as well as a chance to win prizes. For more information, you can contact the number on your screen.
Today in military history, on September 4th, 1950, the Beetle Bailey comic strip debuted.
So I'll credit Kyle for grabbing this story. This is actually kind of neat. I used to read this as a kid. So the comic captures the antics of a lazy Army private. Although it didn't start out that way in the early versions, Beetle was a college student, but 6 months in, creator Mort Walker chose to have Beetle enlist in the Army.
Walker was a World War II veteran. Most of the humor in Beetle Bailey revolves around the inept characters stationed at Camp Swampy, which was inspired by Camp Crowder in South Carolina, where Walker was once stationed at.
In 2000, Walker was honored at the Pentagon with the Distinguished Civilian Service Award for his work, his military service, and his contribution to a military memorial. Walker died in January of 2018, but Beetle Bailey continues under the direction of his 3 sons.
Well, still to come, President Trump has floated the idea of sending National Guard troops to the city of New Orleans to fight crime. After this break, we'll hear from local residents and lawmakers on Big Brother coming to the Big Easy.
Sunny or severe, we get it right, you get it first. First Alert 7 weather.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are. 7 News, working for you every night at 5 and 6. Every evening, 7 News is uncovering breaking stories that impact Texoma. 7 News, working for you every night at 5 and 6.
President Trump has suggested a federal crime crackdown could be coming to New Orleans.
So data from the Metropolitan Crime Commission shows that the city has made progress in reducing violent crime in recent years, but says the Big Easy still has an unacceptably high crime rate per capita. The National Guard would be used to bolster police presence, similar to their deployment during major events such as the Super Bowl or Mardi Gras. However, if they are deployed, they would be playing a limited role.
No amount of crime is an acceptable amount of crime, but you have to acknowledge that violent crime is down in New Orleans under the leadership of this police chief and this police department.
Clearly, more boots on the ground, whether they are in military or they're police officers, decreases crime. Clearly. And that's what the president's intervention in Washington, D.C. has shown. That is not a long-term solution. Having National Guard stationed around the country is not a long-term solution.
While the governor of Illinois has publicly rejected the idea of federal involvement in Chicago, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry says he'll take the help from President Trump from New Orleans to Shreveport. Well, more than 100 people who were impacted by the Lewiston, Maine shooting in 2023 have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government.
So 18 people were killed and 13 others were wounded when Army reservist Robert Card opened fire inside of a bowling alley. Family members of the victims say that the tragedy could have been prevented by the U.S. Army. The lawsuit alleges that the Army ignored its own policies and regulations regarding the risk of military members with mental illness and their access to firearms.
The plaintiffs say multiple warning signs were apparent, including Card's declining mental state, as well as an explicit threat to shoot up the Army Reserve Center in Saco. Attorneys claim the Army failed to take action and broke its promise to protect the community.
An Army spokesperson says they do not comment on pending litigation. Well, families who lived in military housing at Fort Gordon say they were required to sign a non-disclosure agreements from a private company despite deplorable living conditions.
The law prohibits companies from requiring NDAs, but a loophole allows them to suggest or request that families sign one. Georgia Senator John Ossoff says that under the Defense Authorization Act, NDAs will be a thing of the past.
It should alarm all of us, and it should anger us that companies who are entrusted with housing military families would ever try to gag those military families from speaking about their experiences in these homes, where we know, not just at Fort Gordon, but across the country, that there are widespread maintenance, service, and safety issues.
Balfour Beatty Communities provides military housing at Fort Gordon and more than 50 other Army, Navy, and Air Force installations across the U.S.
Well, in Mississippi, the Gulfport Naval Construction Battalion Center hosts their annual Bells Across America ceremony to honor those who gave their lives in service to our country.
This event honors Gold Star families whose loved ones died while serving in the military. Bells tolled as the names of 182 fallen service members from all military branches were read.
Regardless of whether that death happens in a combat scenario, in a training scenario, or other accidental type scenarios, it's important to know that that sacrifice and that service is being commemorated by those that continue to serve.
According to the Navy Gold Star program's website, 46 bell ceremonies are scheduled for this month in more than 20 states and 4 countries.
Well, a group of black soldiers who helped the U.S. win World War I were posthumously awarded a Congressional Gold Medal this week.
The 369th Infantry Regiment, known as the Harlem Hellfighters, were a fixture of the 15th New York National Guard Regiment. About a third of the unit was killed or wounded in action.
Lawmakers say honoring the legacy of the Harlem Hellfighters is crucial to remembering our military history.
This story is one that's been overlooked and overshadowed for far too long. But today, we right that wrong. Today, on behalf of the entire nation, we say thank you, and we give the brave men of the Harlem Hellfighters a permanent place in the history of the United States.
But the Harlem Hellfighters were one of a kind. They were brave, bold, and beguiling patriots who loved America even when America didn't show the same love to them.
Forecast with meteorologist Michael Amanqua.
Well, looking at the rest of your day, we should have partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies as you go throughout much of your Thursday. Nothing notable other than it's going to be pretty warm but average for this time of year. As we go into your Friday, clouds will continue to increase, and then there's our cold front just to our north, and it will be sliding through the day through the area as you go throughout your Friday, and with about a 20% chance of isolated showers and storms possible. Temperatures will be starting to creep into the 80s and then quickly come down as that front moves through. Going into your Saturday, some activity is still possible in our far southern parts of the region. As you go into much of your weekend, we will have about a 20 to 30% chance of an isolated shower storm. That increases going into your Sunday and your Monday before we really start to clear out with mostly cloudy skies, it becoming more clear as you go into the middle of next week. Looking at today, a high of 93. It will be sunny and it will be hot, but winds will be switching from the northeast to the southwest as warmer air will be coming in at around 5 and 15 miles per hour. Going into tonight, 71 degrees for a low with mostly clear skies and southwest winds with 0 to 10 miles per hour. And going into tomorrow, a high of 83 degrees and isolated storm chances. Winds to be switching from the southeast to the northeast as that cold front comes through. And then as you go into your 7-day forecast, a high of 78 only on your Saturday, 79 on your Sunday with scattered showers and storms. And then as you go into next week, we start to dry out and temperatures will slowly start creeping up into the mid to upper 80s.
Basically, one more day of mid-90s,
Yeah.
then we can enjoy the
Cools
nice
off
cooler
for
weather
sure. Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching Good Morning Fort Sill.